Hey, I'm Sam. I'm from Journey Further Paid Social. This is Ella and this is Alex. Today we're going to be talking about ASC, Meta's new campaign style.
So ASC, obviously, acronym for Advantage Shopping Campaigns. A new campaign type with Meta. Essentially, what it is, typically the way you'd set a Facebook campaign is you'd set out the objective and you would enter in one auction. An Advantage Shopping campaign simplifies the whole process, essentially, using Meta's machine learning and the various signals it gets to serve the right creative to the right person at the right time. Now, the difference with Advantage Shopping is you're entering multiple auctions rather than just one. The best way to describe it probably is, from a Google point of view, it's probably Meta's answer to Performance Max.
Yeah, but we think it's a little bit better than Performance Max because you can kind of pull more data from the campaign. So we can look at audience performance. So if you can basically apply existing customer lists, you can kind of go quite granular as well. So if you've got several different product types, you could add existing customer lists for that product type. And then you can analyse the performance in the campaign for those audiences.
Similarly with age targeting as well.
Age targeting, yeah.
Keeps it nice and broad, which can be scary if it's a kind of an existing bedded in client, but actually you can discover some new demographics that way, which we have seen previously. Yeah.
But the AI should basically figure out, well, how to spend your budget anyway, based on the performance within the campaign and also within the account. So we're quite comfortable with letting it run, aren't we? And giving Meta that control.
Yeah, I think Advantage Shop, it's like a one-stop shop because you're essentially giving Facebook, or Meta, should I say, the reins, essentially. You've obviously very little input from our side in terms of what we can actually dictate.
Yeah.
Then our job is how does that fit into our clients' accounts, but then also how do we iterate on Advantage Shopping campaigns by using what we call the split between existing customers and new customers. So Advantage Shopping is supposed to be a combination of retargeting and prospecting in one campaign, and you will define who your existing customers are within that campaign. And our job is, one, to work out how much is getting spent on those existing customers versus new. Is there a way we can guide that or dictate that in some way to make it work for us as well? So it's not just a case of, oh, let's just start Advantage Shopping and then that's it, you've just got that campaign. We've got to work out how it fits in with our clients, for one, but then also how do we make it serve a function that's maybe more prospecting heavy or retargeting heavy, essentially.
You want to find that happy medium as well. So what we would do is do several tests after that campaign is run and kind of change the levels as to how much you want to invest in prospecting and retargeting, and then you just find that like sweet spot. But you can kind of run multiple Advantage Plus campaigns at the same time, so you can go granular as well. You could kind of change your product catalogue to like have different categories and then split your campaigns by that. And that can give you more control if you've got product categories that have like a low AOV or a high AOV, and then you can kind of dictate that spend as well. So there is a lot of opportunities within it, and there's a lot of tests that you can kind of make once you've kind of got an initial base.
Obviously, whenever Meta bring something new out, they push it, and obviously they have stats to back that up, but I think along with Meta stats, which are reporting 17% drop in cost per acquisition, 32% increase in ROAS, and then obviously we've then got to validate that with our own testing, and I think all three of us have already tested Advantage Shopping campaigns. I think it's fair to say already that we're seeing quite positive results off the back of it. I think the benefit, obviously, to testing it, for one, is not just the performance, but in theory, if it's entering different auctions at depending on where that customer is in the journey, in theory, it should also be cheaper.
Cheaper.
Less people running it.
Yeah.
It's working well. It is quite scary, particularly my clients. They like very granular reports, and obviously you can't pull a huge amount of information out.
I was just going to say another benefit that I've seen is CPMs are a lot cheaper across Advantage Plus. So especially in the US market, where we see just tend to see them CPMs like much higher. It's been really beneficial to just kind of have like a cheaper CPM because we'll reach more of our target audience at a lot of obviously a lot of a less cost. So as for brands that need a bit more awareness in that kind of, if they're just entering that market, it's kind of been really important for that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the main blocker for a lot of our clients who maybe are sceptical about testing it, is that it is kind of a bit of a black box in a way.
Yeah.
There are ways, obviously, that we can get a bit more from it. Like you said, it's not quite like Performance Max where it's difficult to learn where things are being spent.
Yeah.
We have obviously the visibility of still demo, placements that are being served. But yeah, that's the probably main blocker for a lot of our clients, and it's weighing up whether that lack of visibility is worth the outcome and performance. And I think in some cases probably there's a question mark over, they're worried about how much is going to be spent on existing customers as well. So yeah, with Advantage Shopping, obviously it says it's a campaign type that works towards new customers and existing customers, but you have to define who those existing customers are. So you have to upload a CRM list or a data list or whatever it may be. You could take that quite literally and upload a full list of your active customers, or you could maybe upload a 30-day retargeting audience.
Website
it depends,
visitors,
It could be any of that, and then within Meta, you have the visibility of how much is going to get spent on existing customers and new customers, but that's it. And then once you start adding more to that list, the visibility again shrinks in terms you don't really know where it's getting spent. So
it is only a guide as well, isn't it?
Exactly,
it won't actually commit to spending that percentage.
No, it's just...
So I initially set up a test against dynamic ads for broad audiences, which was our best performing campaign. And then as I turned the ASC on, the DABA performance tanked.
Which it shouldn't, because Meta actually do say that it shouldn't cannibalise. But yeah, we kind of saw the same thing. But as I've said, if we are seeing cheaper CPMs across Advantage Plus. So just for me, it kind of outweighs that.
Agreed. Also, the AOVs are much higher.
Much higher. Yeah, we seem to be getting like a higher value customer through Advantage Plus as well. So it's kind of been a bit of a win-win really for our US accounts.
The first one, probably the fact that it is a combination of a retargeting and a prospecting campaign in one. Typically, we would just have separate campaigns per targeting strategy. Second one, probably auction. So when you set up a Facebook campaign, if I was to set out on the conversion or sales objective, I would only typically enter the auction for that objective or for that event. With Advantage Shopping, you're essentially entering multiple auctions. So for example, it could be a video views, traffic, and this is all dependent on whether Meta deems that user to be ripe for that particular event at that time, but essentially all laddering up to the one big event that you're optimizing towards, which is purchase.
So how would you kind of pick your creative for it?
So in terms of creative, this is probably the other big difference between a normal Facebook campaign. Essentially, Meta recommends up to 150 creatives. I mean, that's a lot. I haven't used 150.
I feel like we should try and test this.
I don't think I have any clients with 150 pieces of creative.
I don't envy the person that has to go through and build those 150 ads. I don't think you can even import. Well, actually, you could probably do a bulk import. But anyway, so yeah, up to 150 creatives. Typically, what you would do with a normal campaign is you would have maximum 5 ads per ad set, because ultimately they won't receive enough spend over that period. And some will get favoured over us, whereas Advantage Shopping does a bit of a better job, I'd say, of probably distributing spend across multiple creatives. I've been starting with minimum around 10 for my clients, but yeah, that's probably the other big difference.
I guess the reason for all of the different types of creative is because it is a full funnel approach, and you do need the different types of creative
I think that's
wherever
important.
you are in that funnel.
Yeah, exactly. So typically there might be a creative that wouldn't have worked that well in just a standalone purchase campaign, but with ASC it might work really well. And you could see that potentially dominating spend. You're like, well, it's not really generating many purchases, or we're not seeing attributed back.
Could be warming them up then.
Yeah, there'll be a reason.
results then. Obviously, I think we've all tested it numerous times across different clients.
Different client verticals as well.
Different verticals.
It's not just e-com that we've like implemented it in.
And it is performing really well.
Yeah.
My kind of core client that I've used it on, we attributed 15% of the overall daily spend to it. Tested it basically against Dabber. Yeah, the CPA is about 30% lower than BAU campaigns, which is very scary because it's even beating retargeting.
Similar, I think for one particular client, it's become probably the bulk of the investment, probably. Week on week now, consistently probably a top revenue driver in terms of getting attributed back. So yeah, lots of positives. I think it's our job to sort of navigate, figure it out. Yeah, and then help clients understand how do you make this work for you and serve a function that suits you, because it is still a bit of a black box in a way. It's automated.
And we can't fully rely on it. We know that creative is the biggest kind of lever you can pull in terms of performance. So it's kind of giving us like a really nice, like a really good performing campaign structure, but you've still got to test and learn and iterative test against creative, because that's the main thing that will drive performance.
I guess from a very kind of picky creative client as well, it isn't great because it is kind of dynamic creative. I've seen clients push back on it just because they want their ads to look a very specific way, and obviously it will do what it wants.
And it's sort of going, here you go, Meta, here's all my nice creatives. Can you try and do something
can you
with
make
those?
me some purchases, please?
Yeah.
Which it is doing.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying testing it. It's good fun. I mean, Meta's been very samey for quite some time now, I think, and it's nice to play with something else.
What do you think your next steps will be with it for the clients you're working on it with?
So I'm just testing the different levels of spend going into prospecting and retargeting just to find the optimal kind of split. And then do kind of want to layer a test with a conversion lift as well. So there's that. And then like one of my clients has different category levels. So we often see like AOV really vary. So I think I eventually would like to test splitting those out as well.
Cool. What about you, Sam?
I think I will be adding more budget allocation to it. Kind of with the one that I'm kind of really pushing at the moment, it is just very much get out there and do it. So kind of 20-30%, basically, because the DABA campaigns are falling pretty badly. I'm just going to give it all of that budget and see what happens. And then we'll go from there. They don't want to know the ins and outs of it. They just want the performance, basically.
I think probably next thing I'll try is playing about with the existing budget, existing customer budget caps, and maybe trying like an ASC that does purely focus on new customers. So essentially I'd set the existing customer budget cap, put it to 0, and then see what happens. I think that'll be my next step.
So I hope that was interesting for you. We've been talking a lot about it, and it was nice to actually sit down and do it, kind of not on a Google Hangout. If you do have any thoughts, feelings, either connect with us direct on LinkedIn or just comment in the links below and comment down there.